The theme for the Diecast Exchange Fall 2025 Custom Diecast Invitational is Hot Rod. I began this build with a very dusty Hot Wheels Auburn 852 Boattail Speedster casting. I started by drilling out the post rivets and completely disassembling the casting. The body was then stripped of its original red paint. The rear post was drilled and tapped for a 256 screw, but the front post was very small, so I decided to replace it with a larger post from my part stash. The new front post was attached to the body with JB weld and a bit of brass rod for reinforcement. My plan for this build was to create a Salt Flats Racer-inspired roadster that could have existed in the 60s. I began the transformation by removing the front and rear bumpers from the base. I wanted the frame rails to be exposed, so the lower portion of the body was removed, after which I began filling the original fender openings in the body with JB weld. My plans included deleting the original windshield, so to fill the gap this created, I extended the rear edge of the cowl using JB weld. A streamlined headrest and a half cockpit cover were shaped from milliput epoxy putty, while more JB weld was used to finish filling the rear fender openings. To continue with the minimalist racer styling, cycle-style fenders were 3D modeled and printed to replace the original fenders. These new fenders were glued to the base in a manner that provided additional support for the axles. New wheels were 3D modeled and printed in the style of the streamlined spun aluminum moon discs often seen on land speed record cars. Neoprene 12mm by 2mm O-rings were used to simulate the smooth land speed record style tires. A new interior seat was 3D modeled and printed. After primer was applied to the body, a final test fit was done. The body and headrest were painted marigold yellow, and custom decals were applied to the body. Clear coat was applied after the decals were dry. A spare 3D printed steering wheel from a previous build would be used. A dash sculpted from milliput epoxy putty would provide a mounting location for the steering wheel. The dash, interior, and cockpit cover were painted in an orange that I hoped would complement the chosen body color. A small racing windscreen was cut from clear plastic sheet, and a windscreen frame was shaped from thin copper wire. The base was painted orange. When dry, the wheels and tires were installed. The exhaust header and muffler were 3D modeled and printed, then painted silver. Here's a look back at the Auburn Speedster casting I started with. And here's my completed Salt Flats Racer-inspired hot rod roadster. I call it Sunburn, because after a day racing on the salt, that's what you end up with. Thanks for watching. I hope you like this build.